Expired medications? What does that actually mean? You might be surprised. And how can this information be useful to you and your family? You may not know that an expiration date is simply the date that the manufacturer of that product has agreed to guarantee both its safety and efficacy. Many times these dates are somewhat arbitrary and are not based on any scientific study or research, but rather are a way for that company to play it safe in a lawsuit-ridden society like ours. The FDA also sets a limit on how far out that expiration date can be set in an abundance of caution for the general public. Only in extremely rare situations does a medication actually become dangerous or toxic if ingested beyond expiration. In fact, the only time we've ever seen this is with a medication called tetracycline. Most medical supplies and medications remain safe and effective for many years beyond expiration. In fact, because organizations like FEMA have to maintain large stockpiles of medications, both the FDA and the Department of Defense partnered for a study on this called the SLEP study, which showed that for the thousands of drug tests they ran, the medications remained safe and effective for over half a decade beyond their expiration dates. But that doesn't mean that there are zero concerns, as all medical supplies are susceptible to two things that can very much impact safety and efficacy: contamination and degradation. Contamination occurs if a medical supply becomes contaminated or spoiled by things such as bacterial colonization, fungal growth, or even a chemical spill. Degradation, on the other hand, is a more natural process where there is breakdown over time of either the chemicals that make up the drug or even the containers that the supplies are stored within. Both of these processes can be impacted by storage conditions like temperature, humidity, and even light exposure, which is why we generally recommend storing all medical supplies in a cool, dark, and dry place. Be aware also that via degradation, many medicines will naturally degrade in efficacy over time well past the expiration date, but this is a slow and gradual process that varies from medicine to medicine. So yes, expired medications often remain safe and effective for years beyond the expiration date. But that being said, you should never risk consuming expired medications in the world of abundance that we live in today. However, if the shit ever hits the fan, well, I hope you find this information useful and that it helps you and your family stay safe.